Chair, there is no public comments.
Okay, all right, good to hear. Okay, I'd like to call to order this February meeting of the Access Health CT Shop Advisory Committee. And I'd like to remind everybody, please, the first time you speak, say your name so we can associate a voice with a name. Having said that, this is Grant Ritter, Chair of the committee. To begin, could we have a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Grant Ritter, Chair.
Here.
Pamela Rosick. Paul Philpott. Shelley Sweet.
Here.
Thank you. Christopher McKiernan. Ellen Skinner. Matthew Katz.
Here.
Thank you. And Paul Lombardo, subject matter expert from SID. And I would like to add, Mr. Chair, that this meeting is being recorded for minute-taking purposes, as well as for posting of the recording of the proceedings on the agency's website.
Okay, great. I understand there's no public comment, so we can move to the next agenda item. Could I have somebody make a motion to accept last meeting's minutes? Somebody that was here.
I would make that motion. This is Matthew Katz. I'd like to move that we accept the minutes as presented from the last meeting.
Thank you. Seconded?
This is
Anybody else
Shelley
here?
Sweat. I'll second it.
Okay, great. So were there any comments, changes, edits that anybody would like to make? If not, could we have a vote to approve the minutes?
Of August 8, 2023 special meeting minutes. Grant Ritter.
Yes, accept.
Thank you. Pamela Rosick. Paul Philpott. Shelley Sweet.
Yes.
Thank you. Christopher McKiernan. Ellen Skinner. And Matthew Katz.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, moving right along, the next agenda item is to turn it over to John to make comments about the individual coverage reimbursement arrangement plan.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. John Carbone, Director of Broker Support, Product Development, and Small Group. Hope everybody's doing well. Over the past several months, we've been exploring the potential of introducing a new product offering to small business owners and their employees called ICHRA, Individual Coverage Health Reimbursement Arrangements. Today, we'd like to talk a little bit more about that in detail and explain how this works and how this potentially could help Access Health and help the small business community in Connecticut. Over the past 8 years, our small group health insurance market has shrunk by more than 60%. And because of this, we recognize that there's a need for this product and an opportunity for this product. Today's employees expect health insurance, but with rising costs, employers are finding it challenging to offer traditional group plans, and they need more flexibility and more choice. We know that this can be that new flexible option that gives employers and employees the ability to offer a plan that works within their budget, access to better plans, as well as ownership of their health care coverage. Ultimately, this will lead to a reduced number of those that are uninsured and a healthier population. So I'd like to walk through the ICHRA deck right now. I know a lot of you are not familiar with this topic or may be familiar. We're going to go through the journey of how it works to the standpoint of an employee, show the overview of the benefits for the employee and employer, and what the next steps need to be. Okay, so what is an individual coverage health reimbursement arrangement called ICHRA? An individual health reimbursement arrangement called ICHRA is available as of 2019. It's a type of health reimbursement arrangement which an employer of any size group can reimburse an employee for some or all of the premiums that an employee pays for an individual insurance plan that they purchase on their own. ICHRA represents a departure from the previous ACA implementation rules that forbid employers from reimbursing employees for individual marketplace premiums. QSARAs, also known as Qualified Small Employer Health Reimbursement Accounts, which was available in 2017, also allowed small businesses 50 and under to reimburse employees for individual market premiums. But ICHRA will allow this for employers of any size, and they will offer more flexibility in terms of how much an employee is allowed to reimburse the employee. So at this point, I'd like to walk you through a very high level journey of an employee called Mike. So Mike's challenge. Mike's employer wants to offer health insurance, but with rising annual costs, the group coverage is no longer affordable. The opportunity here, a change in several federal regulations, including the IRS tax codes, allows Mike and the employer to help offset those costs for an individual plan. Mike's employer makes the decision to offer an ICHRA plan, with the employer's pre-tax dollars to a class of employees that includes Mike. The ICHRA offered to Mike will help him pay for healthcare coverage available through Access Health. ICHRA contribution rules work the same way as the rules for the federal financial help and the employee contribution towards an employer health insurance plan. Using the Access Health ICHRA platform, Mike's employer will work with their broker to determine if the ICHRA offered to Mike is considered affordable. If the ICHRA is considered affordable, Mike can enroll in a health plan from Access Health and seek reimbursement for the ICHRA. But he will not be eligible for financial help in the form of advanced premium tax credits or cost sharing reductions through Access Health. So if the ICHRA is not considered affordable for Mike, he will not be eligible for he could, if the ICHRA is not considered affordable for Mike, he could be eligible for financial help to buy the health plan offered through Access Health. And his employer and broker can use the ICHRA platform to help Mike see this determination. If Mike is eligible and wants to receive financial help through Access Health, he will have to opt out of receiving the ICHRA contribution from his employer. So we're just going to go through a little journey here for Mike. Healthcare coverage options are evaluated by the employer and an ICHRA is chosen. Employers get to set up on the ICHRA platform. An employer classifies each employee based on 10 different permissible types of classes. A few examples of those classes are part-time, full-time, seasonal workers, temporary workers, salary, hourly. There's a number of other ones out there. Mike's eligibility for the group versus individual with ICHRA is determined by the employer through the initial analysis. Employees are educated. Education begins on our ICHRA platform. Mike shops through the Access Health portal and chooses a plan that's right for him. All right. So Mike's benefits, the employer's benefits for doing an ICHRA. Small businesses stay competitive and reduce the risk of employees like Mike leaving. Pre-taxed employer contributions reduce the amount the employee must pay for an individual healthcare premium plan. Employers can stay in the fully insured market and offer group health insurance to certain classes of employees while reducing the cost and offering richer coverage options and other classes of employees through ICHRA. All right, next one. So what are our next steps? Access Health is going to activate ICHRA to help employees like Mike reduce health insurance and reduce the rate of the uninsured. Access Health will issue an RFP to select a vendor to create a solution to help brokers conduct an evaluation with small business owners to determine if ICHRA is the right choice for their business and their employees, and to assist with the ICHRA process. If the ICHRA is the right choice, the new solution will be created and enable eligible employees to enroll through Access Health enrollment system. So I'd like to say thank you. We do have more information coming down the pipeline, but at this time, I'd like to leave the floor for you guys for questions.
Yeah, John, I have a question. What do you think this is going to do to SHOP? Is it going to take over or sit next to?
I don't think it's going to take over for it. I think it's going to help SHOP, because I think what's going to end up happening is that when you develop these certain classes of employees, not everybody is going to, there'll be a class that'll only be eligible for the group products. because they're, it's just not going to be affordable for them. So they'll be able to enroll into the group platform if they're 50 and under. And that'll give an opportunity for those other individual members to go over to the individual side and get advanced premium tax credits. But as I kind of stated in the presentation, it's one or the other. It's not both.
John, I'm sorry. This is Matt.
Go ahead.
I'm just going to unraise my hand. I'm sorry. So I want to make sure I'm correct about this. As an employer, I can have both employees that are getting the funding from me and employees getting it through the exchange. I don't have to choose. It's just based upon their financial situation and selection, or is it one or the other for the employer? I know the employee can either get funding from the employer or funding through the exchange, but I'm asking about the employer and on how they split it.
It's one or the other. They can't get both of them. So the employer can't give them a contribution or a dollar amount to the ICRA, and then them go to that individual employee, go to the marketplace and get the advanced premium tax credit. So it's one or the other. They have to choose. It's usually going to be.
I know the employee has to choose. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm asking about the employer. The employer can set up options. It's the employee that's limited. The employer can have employees go in either direction, right? So if I've got 15 employees, I can 5 of them can choose the tax credit, and the other 10 I can fund, or can I have to do all or nothing on my funding side?
So you can split them up based on the class, and that's what's done in the beginning with the broker, and the platform is hopefully going to do for us. It's going to allow us for them to develop their necessary classes and then also figure out, do these individuals benefit this side or these individuals benefit that side? But again, those classes are very defined by the IRS. So that's how that's going to be done.
So if I'm an employer, I essentially I'll have one plan for my group of employees coming through me where I'm giving them some funding. And then my other employees will be going through the individual exchange, having a different plan, possibly if it's 5 of them, 5 different plans. Yeah. But it's coming through me as the employer. So I'm offering the platform through Access Health. I am just setting up one group plan and letting employees who qualify get the tax credit on the individual side.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to make sure I understood.
Remember, if that employee leaves that, let's just say leaves that small group, that plan becomes portable. That individual member can take that plan.
Yeah. So those lower income employees can take it with them and get the opportunity for the credits. Those that might not qualify, I can pay something into a pot so that they can use that to reduce their cost of their premium.
Our focus for that is going to be our non-for-profits out the gate. We're going to basically run a test pilot on them and evaluate to see how it works with them. And then as we continue to move the product along and we can continue to mature it, we're basically going to see what other industries that this will work out very well. As we've been talking about, this is going to be another tool in the toolbox. It's not going to be the silver bullet or anything like that. But if we can pick the right platform that does not make this product as complicated as it is, and it does all the notifications, and it allows them to be able to do this analysis up front, and we can have the systems communicate extremely well. This could be a good little tool in the toolbox.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Okay, Shelley,
Hey.
did you have a question?
I do, yes. I have 2 questions, actually. My first one is, John, did you say that the system will actually do the analysis for the individual? So now I'm the employee. I got to make a decision between joining the ICRA or whether or not the subsidy is going to be better for me. I'm going to go kind of like the no wrong door we have now. I'm going to go in, I'm going to put it in. It's going to say, you should go this way or you should go that way. Is that correct?
That's the goal. Yeah, correct. We're going to sit down with the employer and the broker to put in as much information that we can, especially on those individuals that are pointing towards those employees that are pointing the individual market. We want to make sure we have all the necessary information, household income, all that information, so we can make a really educated guess.
Okay. And then my second question relates to group size. So if we have a large, because you said any group site could access it, correct? Let me make sure I got
Correct.
that right. Okay, so if we've got a large group though, they've got a problem if they've got people who are eligible and receiving subsidies. No, even if they're running an ICRA, because the people don't take the ICRA but go through the exchange, then as a large employer, they're having a problem for not offering affordable coverage. Am I correct about that?
So there are some IRS regs that the IRS says that they do look at ICRA as a viable option, but our focus on this is going to be 50 and under. But let me double check those IRS regs on that, because I thought the IRS did say that they did look at this as long as you filed it appropriately and set it up appropriately. There are some like parameters and criteria, but I can get that information for you. I do have it available.
Hey, John, is Susan on?
Susan is not on. Maurice is on.
Maurice, can you, Maurice is our senior counsel. Can you get any legal,
Sure.
discussion? Okay, go ahead.
Sure. So the key here I've been listening to this, and I think the key thing to remember is that financial help is only available if the ICRA that's offered is affordable. So you have different classes of employees. Full-time is one class, part-time may be another. You may want to offer your full-time employees a richer group plan and be willing to contribute more. So you might keep them in SHOP, right? You'll maybe offer like your seasonal employees an ICRA. When that ICRA is offered to the seasonal employees, everyone in that class will have an affordability test based on their income. If the ICRA is considered affordable for that person, they won't be eligible for tax credits.
Nope.
If it's considered unaffordable, they have to disclaim the ICRA from the employer, and then they can come on the exchange and get tax credits. So when it concerns large employees, larger groups, they may have multiple classes of people, right, based on what the IRS has previously delineated as a criteria, usually full-time, part-time, seasonal, geographic location. The employer mandate still applies for large groups, however. So if they are going to offer an ICRA, it would behoove them to offer an affordable ICRA. Otherwise, they would face the penalty for not offering coverage. And then the same rules apply for normal traditional group insurance.
That was excellent. Thank you. Very helpful. It's all about
No
setting up
problem.
those classes. I got it. I
Correct.
appreciate it.
Correct.
Correct. Thank you, Maurice.
No problem.
Pam, did you have a question?
Yeah, actually, this last discussion caused a second question, but my first one was, and I came in late. Is there any other exchanges doing this?
There are currently no other exchanges bringing it out to the public. There is an exchange that has offered it to their employees, but there is no exchange offering it to the community. No.
Okay. And then the second, more of a request than a question. After listening to Maurice, I'm wondering if, I'm not sure why I have an echo here, but anyway, if we could get a workflow for that, sort of like when the ICRA gets set up and the employee goes to look, it's sort of like, you know, if this, then it goes this way, if that, then it goes the other way, sort of like a pass-fail process workflow. It would be helpful, I think, to understand that.
Sure.
So John, can we create that rather sooner than later and get it to the committee?
Yes, we can create it. Do you want it for small group or do you want it for large group?
Try to do it for
Or
everybody.
both?
It'd be the same rules for
The same
both.
rules, Clyde?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, John, I don't have a question. This is Grant, but I do have a comment. This seems great, but it does sound complicated. It sounds like you need to train some brokers to actually help with this kind of arrangement because it's even more complicated than SHOP was.
So the good part, I agree with you, Grant. That's kind of been the whole thing of trying to simplify this down and explain it to someone who is not in the industry. I think a lot of the brokers do kind of have some of the basic foundations of this. And I think they'll kind of absorb the information. It's communicating it downward is going to be the tough part of it. But we think we know we can do it. And if we pick the right platform, which we will, it could benefit everybody. So we do think there is as we kind of get through the process and start learning more and more about it, it'll start simplifying a little bit more.
Great.
So Grant, your comments are well taken. There's no doubt that this is complicated, and we have to do a lot of education not just with the brokers, but with the employers and the carriers as we move forward. And as John indicated, we are well prepared to do that. That's part of our plan. Our project plan includes a lot of outreach and education with the brokers. And I should stress that the brokers, some of them may struggle with accepting this simply because it's new, it's different, and they have to see, what's going to be the impact to them. So we have a lot of education and make them aware that this helps everybody, not just them, but it helps Connecticut residents, helps small businesses. This is why it was created. So we that's part of our strategy to develop an outreach effort to make sure brokers understand how this will benefit everybody. So it's not lost on us that this is not easy. I'm not so sure anything from the IRS is ever easy to explain to anybody.
Okay.
Hi, this is Shelley. Can I just chime in real quick? And just
Sure.
from the broker
Absolutely.
perspective.
Yeah.
So we run a couple of these we have a couple of clients that we run them for personally, but I know just in general and talking to my fellow colleagues that it's complicated, but I think that some of the points that John made about the ideal system that sort of takes care of the very specific compliance rules, the timing of it, all the notices that you have to do, offering something that would take care of that for brokers, which is sort of make them, so yes, it's complicated, but here's the rules and here's the system, right? That's going to keep you and your client compliant in doing this, I think would be huge for brokers, because right now people struggle, to figure out, well, who am I going to use as a vendor to help support this if I recommend an ICRA to a client? Because clients definitely want to know about it, because they basically ask you, can I just pay for it? I mean, that's basically the same thing. That's what they're asking for. I don't want to
Yep.
get into the whole picking a plan world from the employer perspective. So I think this actually, if it has all those bells and whistles, I think would be something that the broker community would actually like.
Excellent. Thank you for your feedback. Appreciate it.
Great.
So this is Matt again. Can I ask a question to both John and Shelley?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So because Shelley's done this in the broker community, is it the employee has to be the one, once they are ruled out, not qualified, to then go to the other side, or can the employer help, or can, in our case, shop help make sure that they get signed up for the appropriate option?
I can tell you what we do.
Yeah.
So what we do, ideally, what you have is a broker that can work with a client that works in both the individual and the group marketplace, right? And so they can follow the employee in assisting them. So you provide the service. If you just give them money and say, go find it, it won't work. I mean, it might work, but you're going to lose people. People are going to fall through the cracks or going to make decisions maybe that aren't the best decisions. You really need to have I believe you need to, well, I'm a broker, I guess that's why I believe it, but you need to have an expert in the topic, whether that's coming directly from the exchange or working with a broker, to help guide them whichever channel they end up down.
That makes sense. So it's really guiding that employee in a stepwise process. The employer sets this up, working with us being shop, us being the providing the ICRA, but they set it up, and then the employee working with the broker goes through the process and is guided through the process of sign up.
That's what I would say is ideal. John,
Yeah.
what do you say?
No, I'm going to say that's the ideal step. You want to keep it all in house. You want to be able to have it look like a group plan all together on both sides of the fence, so that employer can show some value to the employee. So yeah, I do agree with that.
Well, Great. Do we have any other questions? Well, thank you for the overview. I certainly look forward to seeing this in action. I think it's a great step forward. A lot of companies have sort of, you know, trying to do the best thing for their employees and just can't find the right solution. So this will be helpful. So if nobody else has comments, I'll hear a motion for adjournment.
This is Shelley, motion to adjourn.
This
Okay,
is Pam,
seconded?
second.
Sure. All right. Thank you. Can we have a roll call on that, Marson?
I'm just wondering who seconded the motion. Was it Ms.
Pam.
Russick? Ben,
It was-
okay,
Yes, it was Pam.
thank you. Roll call, Grant Rader,
Yes.
Pamela Russick,
Yes.
Paul Philpott, Shelley Sweet,
Yes.
thank you. Christopher McKinnon, Alan Skinner, and Matthew Katz.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody. See you.
Thank you,
next time.
everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Cool.
Bye now.